Hello friends. Welcome back to the channel. If English feels confident in your head but completely disappears when you try to speak, this video is for you. Let me tell you something important first. You are not forgetting English. If English was actually gone, you wouldn't understand YouTube videos, movies, interviews, or even random comments online. You wouldn't be able to follow conversations, but you can, which means English is still inside your brain. The real problem is not knowledge. The real problem is access under pressure. When you're alone, your brain is calm. There is no urgency, no judgment, no expectation to perform. In that state, English feels easy. Words come naturally in your mind. Sentences sound correct. Everything feels smooth. But the moment you have to speak in front of someone, something changes. Your brain doesn't think, I know English. Your brain thinks, what if I mess this up? And the moment that thought appears, pressure enters. Pressure changes how the brain works. Instead of focusing on communication, your brain switches to safety mode. It starts monitoring every word, every sentence, every possible mistake. This is when fluency breaks. Not because you lack vocabulary, not because your grammar is weak, but because your brain is busy protecting you from embarrassment. So, it slows you down. It blocks recall. It creates that uncomfortable silence where you know what you want to say, but the words just don't come out. English doesn't disappear. It gets locked behind fear and self-monitoring. And the more you experience this freeze, the more your brain learns a pattern. Speaking English equals danger. So next time, it freezes even faster, until you start believing that you're bad at English, when in reality, your brain is just doing what it was trained to do. Why this keeps happening? This problem didn't start suddenly. No one wakes up one day and forgets how to speak English. It starts quietly. The first time you try to speak, you hesitate. You overthink a sentence. You make a small mistake, and someone reacts. Maybe they interrupt you. Maybe they correct you. Maybe they smile in a way that makes you feel small. Or maybe no one reacts at all, and that silence feels even worse. Your brain notices that moment. Not logically, emotionally. It stores that feeling. Next time you speak, your brain remembers it. Not the words, the emotion. So it becomes careful. You start thinking before every sentence. You replay grammar rules in your head. You search for the perfect word instead of the right one. And slowly, speaking stops feeling natural. It starts feeling like a test. Every conversation feels like you're being evaluated. Every pause feels like failure. Every mistake feels bigger than it actually is. And here's the most painful part. You begin to compare yourself. You hear others speak. You think they sound confident. I don't. You think they speak fast. I freeze. You think they're fluent. I'm not. So you speak less. You avoid situations. You stay quiet even when you know the answer. You let opportunities pass because you don't trust your voice. And every time you stay silent, your brain learns something new. Silence is safer, so it rewards silence and punishes speaking with anxiety. This is how the loop is created. Not because you lack English, but because your brain learned fear faster than fluency. And the longer this loop runs, the more personal it feels. You don't say, my brain is blocking me. You say, I'm bad at English. And that belief hurts more than any grammar mistake ever could. How to break the freeze? Let's fix this in a way that actually works. Not by pushing yourself harder, not by forcing confidence, and not by blaming yourself for freezing. Because fluency doesn't improve when you fight your brain. It improves when you work with it. The biggest mistake people make is believing they need more English. More words, more rules, more speaking in public situations. But the truth is, your English is already there. What's missing is safety. Your brain doesn't need motivation. It needs reassurance. So the first practical step is this. Remove pressure from the act of speaking. Stop practicing English only when someone is listening. Start speaking when no one is judging you. Talk to yourself out loud when you're alone. Explain simple things. Repeat thoughts. Say half-formed sentences. This may feel silly at first, but it's powerful, because your brain starts learning something new. Speaking English doesn't always lead to stress. That's how rewiring begins. Next, stop trying to sound fluent. Trying to sound fluent creates tension. Tension blocks flow. Instead, allow your English to be simple. Use easy words, short ideas, incomplete sentences. Fluency is not about complexity. It's about continuity. And continuity comes when you allow imperfection. Now here's a step most people avoid, but it changes everything. Stop rehearsing sentences in your head. Rehearsal feels like preparation, but it secretly increases fear. Because once you prepare, your brain believes there is a correct version that must be protected. So when you speak, the fear of losing that version freezes you. Instead, start speaking before the sentence is fully clear in your mind. Let the sentence form as you talk. You will pause. You will correct yourself. And that's okay. Pausing is not failure. It's processing. Self-correction is not weakness. It's fluency in progress. And the more often you allow yourself to speak imperfectly, the more your brain relaxes. Slowly, the fear loop weakens. Speaking stops feeling like danger and starts feeling normal. Not confident, not impressive, just normal. And when speaking becomes normal, fluency starts to grow on its own. No force, no pressure, no panic. The moment everything shifts. At some point, you have to stop trying to fix your English. Not because it's perfect, but because it's not broken. What's broken is the story you've been telling yourself. For a long time, you didn't say, "I get nervous when I speak English." You said, "I'm bad at English." And when a belief becomes personal, it becomes heavy. You stop seeing English as a language you're learning. You start seeing it as a measure of your intelligence, of your confidence, of your worth. Every mistake feels like proof. Every pause feels like exposure. Every conversation feels like judgment. But here's the truth you were never told. Fluent speakers are not people who never hesitate. They are people who stopped attaching meaning to hesitation. They don't ask, "What does this say about me?" They ask, "How do I continue?" And that difference changes everything. Because fluency is not confidence first, then speaking. It's speaking first, and confidence growing quietly in the background. The breakthrough happens when you realize you don't need to sound fluent to deserve to speak. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect sentences. You don't need approval. Your voice is allowed to exist exactly as it is. When you stop judging your English, your brain stops protecting you from it. When you stop proving yourself, your brain stops freezing, and slowly something unfamiliar happens. You speak, and you don't panic. You pause, and you don't apologize. You make a mistake, and you move on. Not because you're suddenly confident, but because you no longer see mistakes as danger. This is the identity shift. You are no longer someone trying to speak English. You are someone who speaks imperfectly, naturally, and without self-attack. English stops being a test. It becomes a tool to express ideas, to connect, to participate. And once this shift happens, fluency grows without effort. Not fast, not dramatically, but permanently, because you're no longer fighting your brain. You're finally letting yourself speak. If you relate to this, subscribe. This channel is for people who understand English but struggle to speak it freely. Like the video so it reaches others like you. Share it with a friend who avoids speaking English. And comment below one situation where you feel your mind goes blank. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.